All right, how's it going, everyone? Happy Monday. As always, Nick Marro DFS here with Smitty, helping you break down the DraftKings and FanDuel main slates on both sites. I already named them here for Occupied Fantasy. We got a pretty good slate tonight. I think, what is it, 5 games over on DK? Or only 4 on DK, 5 over on FanDuel. I was just talking to Smitty. Every game is like a half-hour break, or there's at least a half-hour break between them. So no two games starting at the same time. We have some news coming in, some we're still waiting on. Smitty, what are your overall takes on this slate as we dive in here?
Yeah, not a ton of like good value, I would say, but there are some value plays we can get to. But like you said, a lot of games starting at different times. It's kind of good for late swap purposes, so I do like this slate.
Yep, yep. Shouts out to all you guys in chat. We got a lot of the regulars here. Jose, Ben, Kospa. Appreciate you. Luke, Heath, HB Cards, Terrain. Can't bring everyone up right now, but we'll definitely get to every question as they come in. A few questions here about Peyton Pritchard. We're going to start with that game, so we'll go right into this one. We got the Detroit Pistons taking on the Boston Celtics here in Boston. Boston slight favorites at home, 229.5 point total. Someone mentioned Pritchard was added late to the injury report with neck issues. Someone else called him tree trunk neck, but it sounds like he's going to be good to go here. But starting on the Detroit side of things, really no significant injuries. Only G Leaguers today on their injury report. So this team, as healthy as they've been all season. Obviously, not the best matchup here against Boston. It's not like Boston is the shutdown defense. Maybe they were in years past, though. Decent total. I mean, I do think Cade is fine at low ownership. Whenever we can get him low owns, especially on a small slate. I think there's plenty of reason to get to him in high risk contests. He looks pretty good here. Tobias Harris is interesting. I mean, he's kind of chalky. I don't hate it, but honestly, I do think it's kind of thin as a piece of chalk on this slate. Like 4,800 on DK does feel too cheap, but the minutes for him have kind of been all over the place. We have him for 29 tonight. I think that's a pretty good projection. Don't mind him as a piece, but I don't think I want to come in over the field if I can help it. Duran's been struggling a little bit lately. I don't mind going there, but more of a boomer bust tournament type play. You can make a case for Thompson. Probably wouldn't get to much Duncan Robinson, but yeah, man, I like Cade at low ownership, but not much else here for me from Detroit. I mean, the Tobias price is tempting on DK, but I wish he was a little bit less popular than he is right now. Smitty, how do you feel about the Pistons?
Yeah, I like Cade. I think Duran's fine, but yeah, Cade looks like a good option in a pretty decent game. But yeah, you said it. Kind of Tobias and Asar Thompson. I have their ownership flip flopped in my builds right now. I'm getting to more Asar than I am Tobias. But you could go either way. I just need the small forward more than I do a power forward. But yeah, I don't think they're like amazing plays. There's a few pivots that I don't mind, but overall, I'm getting to a decent amount of them. But I'll probably come in around the field on Asar and Tobias.
Yeah, I do like getting a little bit more Asar than I do Tobias. I think there's similar options, and obviously we can just kind of zig where the field zags. The one bench play I have any interest in, and I'm not crazy about it, would probably be Isaiah Stewart, and that's more so on DK where he's just 4,400. Back-to-back games over 20 minutes where he's hitting value. It's useful if you need it, but again, these games are staggered. If you're locking in value in this early game, when we get some late news to break it, it could change things. So maybe save those spots if you can. But that's pretty much it as far as Detroit goes. Moving over to the Boston side of things, we mentioned Pritchard was at one point questionable. He's going to be good to go here. Other than that, really no significant injuries. Obviously, Jason Tatum's out for the year. Don't know why I bring his name up at all on these. I'm just reading off the injury report, though. But Boston, very popular. I mean, Detroit's defense is pretty good. If Pritchard was out, I mean, we'd definitely be getting more White and Brown. I think regardless, those three look pretty good where they're priced. Obviously, Brown is the highest ceiling. You're paying a premium to get to him. We talked a little bit pre-stream. Jordan Walsh has been excellent. He's kind of been a spacer for these guys. Takes a lot of threes, hits a lot of threes. He's crashing the boards as well, especially where their center rotation is kind of playing limited minutes at times. So I'm interested in Walsh at low ownership. I think he's a good tournament pivot off of the more popular Tobias or Osser, even if you want to get a little bit different there. Is he 100% safe at this price? No way. But again, he does seem to be locked into these minutes now. Other than that, yeah, man, it's mostly just the starters for me. You can make a case for Keita. He's pretty much boomer bust lately, though. He does have upside, but again, I'm trying not to lock in too many of these value pieces. He's been pretty matchup dependent. We haven't seen him play against Detroit since October. 25 fantasy points in 26 minutes. So tough to get a great read on this matchup for him. But I think the three guards look good. I'll definitely have more Walsh in the field. How about you?
Yep, pretty much the same. When we were talking about the Tobias Asar situation, that's kind of the first one that came to mind was Jordan Walsh as a pivot. Similar minutes, has similar upside, so the ownership shouldn't be as different as it is. So I like getting over the field on Walsh. Jalen Brown seems like a good high upside option, kind of similar to Cade. Where you can get there, I think he's a good option, but hard to prioritize him with the lack of value that we have. Pritchard and White, I'm kind of around the field, maybe a little below on both of them. I think they're fine options, but I kind of prefer going to the later games. And then Kada is actually my highest exposed Celtic. Just center's okay. I don't mind getting to Kada. They're going to need to play big, so I think he looks fine.
Yep. We get a question here from Card saying, when does Ivy get a minutes bump? I think it's just when he's hot. He's kind of buried on the depth chart right now. We've seen him pushing 20 minutes at times. I don't really know that there's any method to that madness, though. Obviously, Levert's getting a lot of those minutes. Holland is a young player they want to keep in the rotation. Duncan Robinson, I think if he's cold against a good team, maybe Ivy could fall into some of his minutes, but I don't think there's really a situation where we can count on a big bump in minutes for Ivy anytime soon. Any thoughts on that one, Smitty?
Yeah, I think it would take an injury. They're just a really deep team, and they're all kind of similar. So they're trying to get everybody minutes. So it's not a super tight rotation.
Yeah, Power comes out swinging with the puns here. I'd be more likely to bias than to roster Tobias. So, shouts out Power here as always, keeping things light. Let's get into the next game here. We have at 7:30 Eastern Standard between the Toronto Raptors and the Miami Heat. 234.5 point total. Miami Heat are going to be favored here at home. Toronto, no RJ Barrett. It's kind of been the case for them for a while now. Jamison Battle's probable. I don't know that he's going to see significant minutes either way. But pulling up Toronto, I mean, kind of similar to Boston in that there's three guys that do stand out. Field is getting to all of them. They're all priced a little bit differently. We got quickly Ingram Barnes. I like all three. Again, I don't know that I'd want more than one in a lineup. This matchup with Miami is a little bit better this year than it has been in years past. Still not ideal, but high total, close spread. They check enough boxes for me. It's just tricky, kind of similar to the Boston situation. Like one of these guys is probably what you need. It's tough to know which one. I think quickly is obviously the easiest to get to, given his price. Probably want to get more Barnes in the field if I can, but all three are fine. I just don't know how to really delineate between them. Then we have Jakob Podol here in the front court. He's been very much boomer bust, kind of like a Namias Keita, honestly. So like this team, it's funny. It's a different game, but they very much parallel what we're talking about with Boston here. So I do like the starters. Probably won't get to much Agbaji, assuming he's starting at the two. Um, but yeah, a team definitely worth considering. I mean, is there anyone that stands out from this group to you, Smitty?
Not really. It's kind of hard to decipher between the main dudes. Right now, I'm getting the most Ingram. I think just because of the position. I think Scotty is who I'd prefer to get, but of course he costs a little bit more, and he's kind of been boom bust, so he's hard to like really call him a priority. But Ingram is who I'm getting to the most. I have a little bit of Scotty, a little bit of Quickly, but I'm below the field on both. Like I said earlier, I'm just kind of focusing those last two games, and I'm playing for some of the injury situations. So that's kind of why I'm not getting to as much. I do think they're pretty decent plays. And then Jakob Pertl, I think, is an okay play. Only 12% seems like a pretty good option. So I don't mind getting to Pertl.
Yep. The one bench gal shout out here is Jamal Shade. He's been playing about 20 to 30. I mean, he played 33 against the Knicks. I don't think we could really count on that, but 20 to 24 minutes per game. Very good point per minute producer. The price on him is up, but I think if you're looking to get a little bit different, don't mind playing some of him, but not really value you could prioritize again with the way these games are staggered this evening. Over on the Miami side of things, a little bit tricky. We got Hero available. Pele Larson's going to be out. Terry Rozier and Drew Smith, or Rozier's out, Drew Smith's in, I guess. So we can keep an eye on that rotation, I guess. But Yeah, man. When this team is healthy, they're kind of priced where they should be. I think Hero is a little bit too cheap, at least over on DK at 7,400. At the same time, we really haven't seen a huge upside out of him very often lately. But I'm comfortable mixing him in just because he's lower owned than he probably should be compared to some of the other plays we're talking about here, the Ingrams, the Whites, the Browns, etc. I think Hero's in that group, but at much lower ownership, so he does have some appeal to me in tournaments. I don't mind Powell or Wiggins, but with Hero back, I do think they're a bit overpriced. And then Bam, he has been producing a bit better lately. I do think this is the type of a matchup we could see a ceiling from him in. So don't mind getting into some Bam here. He's probably my favorite Heat player, followed by Hero. You can mix in the rest, but again, really no priorities from this game for me personally. How about you when it comes to Miami?
Yeah, pretty much the same. As it stands right now, I'm a little bit over the field on Hero on DraftKings. Just helps. He has point guard, shooting guard eligibility, so I do think he's playable. One of the higher totals on the slate, going to be handling the ball. So Hero's fine. Bam, I'm about with the field. I think he's a pretty good play. The model loves Powell, so I'm trying to get a little bit more, but currently I don't really have a ton of heat other than Hero and Bam.
Yeah, I'll sit here saying Storm and Norman. I assume he's talking about Powell. Yeah, Powell's scoring dependent, but I think he does still lead the team in usage when they're healthy, even with Hero out there, which is pretty interesting. I don't know that that holds, but it does seem to be reflected in the model. We could definitely get over the field on him. So to answer, yes, you could definitely play some Powell. Nick Lovett saying where or Jaquez. I mean, the model definitely prefers Jaquez. Where they're priced, though, honestly, no pun intended, I don't really have a ton of interest in either. I just think they're kind of tough to get to. If I had to go with one, it'd probably be Jaime, but not really getting to much of either. Again, if we're playing value, I'm trying to wait at least through the first few games for the most part. Smitty, any interest in Jaquez or where for you?
Not really. Maybe as like deep tournament plays, but I'm not really getting there. The only other one we didn't talk about is Davion. Like in these close games, they've gave him a lot of minutes, so I don't mind getting to a little Davion Mitchell on FanDuel. DraftKings, it's a little harder to get there, but I think on FanDuel he's a pretty good option.
Yeah, where he's priced, he's definitely useful as a building block. I mean, the minutes are there for him. The usage is obviously down a little bit with this team getting healthy, but minutes matter most. Alliteration aside, let's get into the next game here at 9 o'clock. We get the Mavericks taking on the Jazz. One of the highest totals on the board. It is the highest total on the board, actually. We got 240.5 points. Mavericks, slight favorites on the road here in Utah, and a decent amount to talk about here. First and foremost, Anthony Davis is questionable with a calf contusion. I don't know if you have a lead on this. I'll ask you in a moment, but I do think if he's in on DK, he's one of the most appealing pay-ups. This is a great matchup for him here. Nurk is out for the Jazz, which we'll also talk about in a moment here. But at 9,500, I really like his upside if we're going to get more than 30 minutes out of him there. Cooper Flag looks fine. You know, I'm a huge fan of his. He's been producing at a really high level lately, but would like him even more if AD's out. Obviously, going to see increased usage, floating around 24% usage for him is nice. Would like to see that number go up a bit though. He's just not taking threes, and he's still scoring really well. So if he ever starts to take those threes, and we saw it at Duke last year, like first couple months of the year for him wasn't taking threes, and then he started to really jumped away from the field as the best player in college basketball once he did. So I think there's still upside for Flag. It's just a matter of when those shots start to come. I don't see it happening yet. Again, PJ Washington's fine. Model absolutely loves him. I think Flag, like for a little bit more, is a really good pivot there, though. I think they're similar plays. Najee Marshall looks okay. We'll feel better about him if we do get word that Brendan Williams is out, who is also questionable here. Talking about the guards in general, Nemhard's going to get the start. We already know D'Lo's out, and Williams was downgraded with an Achilles injury, which really tells me we could kind of project him not to be available tonight. I'd be surprised if he played. So with Nemhard being like the one true guard there, I think he's going to look great. Kind of a core play for me. The minutes have been all over the place, but Kid can't really lean on D'Lo or Williams if they're not available. Obviously, they do have Jaden Hardy buried on this bench as like a really deep shout, but that feels a little bit risky for me on a slate like this. So again, if Williams is out, Nemhard becomes a core play. If Williams is in, you could play him. He's been really productive off the bench, but I wouldn't want both of them in one lineup. Clay has been a little bit better lately off the bench, but again, super scoring dependent. He's okay where he's priced. Not something I'd be prioritizing. Again, we need more news here, really, to make our super strong leads or takes or whatever you want to call it. But Smitty, where are you planting your flags as far as this Dallas Mavericks team goes?
Yeah, I've won as much as this game as possible, really. So I really like this game a lot. AD, I'm getting to a ton of him. I think he looks good either way, no matter what. So do like AD as a pay up option. Najee Marshall is someone I'm getting to quite a bit as well, but that's because I'm kind of planning for Brandon Williams to be out, so he might get some extra ball handling responsibilities. So Najee, Nimhard, I'm going to play a lot of Nimhard either way, and Brandon Williams if he plays. But as it stands right now, Nimhard's my favorite, assuming Brandon Williams is out, followed by AD, Najee. But yeah, you kind of mentioned it with PJ and Flag. I like both of them. I like Flag quite a bit, especially if Williams is out, because we could kind of see him handle the ball a little bit more. So I don't know, just all of Dallas really. Nimhard the most is like he would be my core play, I guess you could say, if Brandon Williams is out. But like you said, with Brandon Williams, I don't mind getting to him either if he's available. But as it stands right now, I'm kind of leaning he's just out.
Yep. Power with the comment here. AD and Gafford both went through shoot around, so I expect AD out. A little bit of dig at the brow there. Doug Geely saying, love the show. Need to get Nick a new mic. Yeah, so Doug, I actually have a nice USB mic here, but we got more complaints about the nice mic than we did the headphones. So I'll do some experimenting over the holiday break coming up. I got some time off the 9 to 5. I'll try to get those things ironed out, but appreciate you guys. But yeah, one more name I do want to mention is Max Christie. If we get word that Williams is out, Christie had a huge game against Brooklyn. Went 4 for 9 from three. When he got hot, Kid actually boosted his minutes. Played 33 minutes, finished with 36 fantasy points. So the model really doesn't like him at all right now. But he could still go overlooked if we get Williams out, and he probably would still come off the bench. So keep an eye on Christie. Definitely someone to consider. Over on the other side here, another really appealing team. We have Utah again. I think we're both just loading up on this game. Georges Niang, Yusuf Nurkic, both out. Walker Kessler obviously out. Toshibwe is available. This is not a guy I'm playing anytime soon. I think people want him to be a thing. He just hasn't been a thing though. We're probably going to see Kyle Filipowski get the start at the five. He is chalk and for good reason. I do like him a lot here. Ace Bailey taking a ton of shots lately. He looks great. And then we have Laurie and Keontae George as really solid options. So all of the starters here except for Svi. The question we have to ask is, are we playing Kevin Love? How much Kevin Love? He had one really good game against Memphis, and now he's chalk all of a sudden. I get with Dirk out, maybe he gets those 20 minutes again, but is he going to shoot 10 threes? I don't know. I'm a little bit hesitant to get to Love here unless he ends up starting. But I like all the starters here except for Svi. Um, but that's pretty much it for me from Utah, albeit that is four players. So I do like this team a lot. Smitty, how do you feel about the Jazz?
Yeah, I'm getting to a lot of Jazz. Ace Bailey, I'm trying to get away a little bit, but yeah, I'm still over the field. Pretty tough to get away from. Just the minutes are secure no matter the outcome of the game. So I do like him quite a bit. Filipowski, as long as he starts, looks like a really good play. Even if he don't start, the minutes will probably still be there. So I do like Filipowski, Bailey, and then Keontae. He had a huge game the other night. I'm willing to go back in this game environment, so I like Keontae quite a bit on both sides. And then you mentioned Kevin Love. I'm pretty well below the field right now. Just other centers I'm getting to other than him. Kind of like some other value plays, but if the news don't break my way and Brandon Williams plays, then I might end up on a little bit more Kevin Love. But as it stands right now, I'm not. But I do have a lot of these random dudes mixed in, like Walter Clayton. I'm getting to a few percent of Isaiah Collier. I have a couple percent. So I think they're a pretty tough team to avoid. You could kind of mix and match some of these tournament plays, but the ones that really stand out are going to be Bailey, Filipowski for me.
Yeah, Clayton had been playing well, but I think he's the one who lost the most minutes to Love the other night, so keep that in mind. Collier's been like in and out of the rotation. He's tricky, so if you're on those really cheap plays, maybe set a rule just to have one or two of them because they do seem to kind of cannibalize minutes from one another. A question here from OSID is 3-2 Mavs Jazz stack awkward? Usually it's 3-1, 2-1, 2-2. I don't even think about things this way. Like if players are value and they have upside, I'm playing them. I wouldn't think too deeply in this direction. So, do you have a take on this question? I think it's worth asking, but I don't know that I have a great answer for it.
No, I think it's fine. Just going 3-2.
Yeah, 3-2 is fine. And then Clay or Max, I would say if Williams is in Clay, if Williams is out Max, that's kind of how I'd handle it. Max Christie, that is. Thoughts on that one, Smitty?
What was it?
Clay Thompson or Max Christie for Dallas?
Uh, I don't know. That's tough. I think they're a coin flip, basically.
Yeah, it's tough, man. Doug saying the 44 to 4100 guard forward will decide the slate. A bunch of two for twos from you, Osid. I mean, Christie quickly or Clay Norman. Uh, I don't know. Again, I think it depends if Williams is out or not. If Williams is in, I'd be careful with Christie. So maybe Clay Norman for now. Nick saying he thinks Ace Bailey might have a big game playing against Flag. Might be extra motivation. Yeah, I mean Bailey was never going to be the number one pick. He could think that, but he's not. He actually went earlier than I think some people thought he would. He really slipped. Need T Wolves, Kevin Love. Yeah, man. If we get that again, that'd be great. Do we get slow mo playing tonight? I mean, again, the deep rotation here has been all over the place. He played 12 minutes against the Knicks, 16 against Brooklyn. Uh, this was a week ago, though, more than a week ago. So I wouldn't count on it. We got him for 10 minutes in the model. I'm not playing any Kyle Anderson or you, Smitty.
I have him in one lineup, so I guess you
Okay.
could say that.
Hey, yeah. If you're only playing a handful, holy, don't get too much Kyle Anderson there. And hopefully we get this news soon, guys. We can revisit this one. We did have a question from Jose when we do the dummy build. Can we do one with Joker, one without? I'll use that as a segue into this game in Denver here between the Houston Rockets and the Denver Nuggets. 237.5 point total. Pretty tight spread. Starting on the Houston side of things, Tari Eason, who's been out for a while, is questionable. Dorian Finney-Smith and Fred Van Fleet are both still out. So if Eason comes back, it could cut into some of the minutes for maybe Smith or Okogie. Historically, he's not a guy who takes up a ton of minutes, though. I wouldn't worry too much about it. In terms of like tournament plays here, I do like Sangoon. I don't mind Durant or Thompson or Smith. Honestly, it's just they're all kind of under owned. I can't sit here and say I'd rather play them over the expensive guys for the Jazz or I don't know some of the plays we talked about earlier. But at the same time, the field feels the same way. So some decent tournament pivots here as far as Houston goes, Smitty. But are any of them standing out to you?
No, that's pretty much how I am too. I have Sengun and Durant mixed in as well as Amin Thompson. On FanDuel, I do like Amin Thompson quite a bit. He's also getting a little bit more ownership there, but the matchup against Denver is pretty good for him, and we know he could play a ton of minutes. So I have more interest on FanDuel, but I think he's at least playable on DraftKings. But on DraftKings, it's basically just Sengun and a little bit of Durant for me.
Yep, I'm with you. If you're hoping for some late news to break and it doesn't, I think Steven Adams is someone you could play. He does tend to play a few more minutes against Denver, but off the bench, that is. I wouldn't be shocked to see him slide in the starting lineup even. But honestly, he hasn't played well with those extra minutes, so he's okay. It's like a value dart, but not really something we'd be prioritizing. Over on the Denver side of things, we have Christian Brown, Aaron Gordon, both out. Julian Strother is questionable, so pretty much the same situation that we've been dealing with the Nuggets. We're going to be dealing with here tonight. Jokic, a little bit lower owned than I thought he would be. Honestly, I do like him here if we can get to him. Obviously, his ceiling is as high as any on the slate. Last time against Houston, played almost 40 minutes. Got close to 70 fantasy points. Trying to go through and see a few other performances from him against his team, but historically he's done fine. I think maybe some people are afraid of the matchup. I think more than anything, it's just the price that's keeping people off. But low on Jokic, yeah, definitely sign me up as far as the tournament play goes. Jamal Murray has been playing excellent. Seems like he's finally 100% healthy. Don't mind going to him here. Another really good pay up at guard and another play who's honestly underowned, if I'm being completely honest. With Gordon and Brown out, we've seen some good games from Watson. We've seen some good games from Cameron Johnson. It's kind of one or the other. I don't mind either. And then Tim Hardaway Jr. off the bench has been shooting the ball a lot more this season. So don't mind mixing him in as like a last piece in. I can't really say anything is a true priority here, but I do think Denver as a whole is underowned. Definitely want to get some of these guys in tournaments, I think, Smitty. How do you feel about the Nuggets here tonight?
Yeah, that's pretty much how I feel too. Tight spread, and Denver runs a pretty tight rotation. So one of these guys probably gets there, and their ownership don't really reflect it. I think Jokic is if where I can get there. I'm trying to get there, but it's pretty tough on DraftKings to really get there. If news breaks differently, it might be a little easier. So but I do think you could force Jokic in and kind of just make things work. So I do think Jokic is a good play. Jamal Murray's been really good this season. Not a great matchup for him, but I still like getting over the field on Jamal Murray. Someone's got to score points. But Peyton Watson, Cam Johnson, I think are good tournament plays that I'm mixing in. And then you mentioned Tim Hardaway Jr., someone off the bench we could get to. Don't mind mixing him in. And then on DraftKings, I think Joe Val is at least playable at 3,700.
Yeah, Jovel, I mean, he does a lot in his minutes. It's just, I don't know, he might only play 11 or 12. We have him for 12, so you can mix him in as a last piece if you're desperate for the value. One more name I'll shout out is Bruce Brown. He's pretty inconsistent. We've seen some big games out of him with these other guys out, though, so you could mix him in if you really need to. Wouldn't want him in the same lineups as Tim Hardaway Jr., probably, so just keep that in mind. But if you want the piece of value and need it, you're going kind of stars and scrubs tonight. Maybe he's someone you could mix in. That's it for that game. We got one more game here, and it is only on the FanDuel slate. So keep that in mind. We're through the DK games. We're getting some questions here, like best plays at each position on FanDuel, GK, things like that. Guys, we're going to do a dummy build where we're trying to build our best possible lineup on both sites once we get through the game by game here. And to Jose's comment, we'll try to do one with Joker, one without on both sites if we can. So hopefully that'll help you guys answer that question. We'll get our core plays in there first. But starting with Memphis here, 228, excuse me, and a half point total here. Clippers are favored at home. On Memphis, Brandon Clark is doubtful. Zach Edey is going to be out for a while. No G.G. Jackson, Ty Jerome, John Conchar, Scottie Pippen, or Javon Small. Jaw has been back, still playing limited minutes, though. We have him for 28 tonight. Had a good game against Utah. Got over 40 fantasy points in just 25 minutes or so. So he does have a ceiling on FanDuel. He's only 7,900. I don't mind mixing him in. I think it's risky, though. Definitely more of a tournament type play. And then we are probably going to see Aldama start at the five again here against Zubac. I do think against a big team like the Clippers, maybe we see Jock Landale slide into the starting lineup. The thing is on FanDuel, he's center only, so you got to kind of proceed with caution on that one. But I don't mind mixing him in. We also have Aldama, who I think starts regardless, looks pretty good. Jaron Jackson's been kind of unplayable this year, but Cedric Howard's okay. Jalen Wells is fine. But again, I don't know that anything truly stands out. I don't know that we get that starting lineup till very late. Again, the games are staggered. This doesn't come until 10:30 Eastern Standard, so you may or may not know if you're going to have Landell starting. But he had a good game off the bench the other day. I do think he's fine in tournaments, but it seems like the field's getting there a little bit. If anything, like John tournaments, definitely think Aldama is the safest quote unquote play for Memphis. Smitty, how do you feel about the Grizzlies here in LA?
Yeah, pretty similar. I think Aldama looks pretty good with power forward eligibility. You do carry the risk of him possibly not starting and them going with Landell. But either way, he probably plays enough minutes where he could pay off that price tag. Cedric Coward's another player I'm getting to a little bit. Don't really have a hard lean there. But yeah, it's mainly Aldama and Landell. Would prefer to not get to anyone else on this team.
Yeah, Coward's difficult because he's super talented, but for whatever reason, they don't really give him consistent minutes. I will say, against the Clippers the other night on the 5th, 28 minutes, 51 fantasy points in this exact same matchup. So he does have some upside. Had another great game against Utah, under 30 minutes, over 40 fantasy points. So he could do it, even limited. Usually I'm trying not to play these guys that are capped around 30, but he might be an exception to that rule. So keep that in mind. For the Clippers here, we have Harden as questionable. Obviously, that's extremely significant. No Derek Jones, no Bradley Beal. He's going to be out for the season, so it's tricky. I think if Harden's in, you can play him. I think if he's out, we're going to get to a ton of Kawhi Leonard, who I think is a pretty appealing play over on DraftKings, or not DraftKings, excuse me, FanDuel. Regardless, seeing more minutes out of Kawhi lately, he's been super productive. Definitely my favorite play from the Clippers, regardless of whether Harden's in or not. Zubac looks good at center. Obviously, a decent matchup here for him with no Edey for the Grizzlies. But again, kind of waiting on the Harden news. Chris Dunn would probably see the biggest boost here. If Harden's out, going to have to do more ball handling. I think his usage goes up in a big way. Bogdanovich would probably slide into the starting lineup. Very scoring dependent regardless, though, so maybe proceed with some caution on him. If Harden's in, I like him, but Kawhi's going to be my favorite play either way. I do like Zubac regardless. And then Chris Dunn, I think, is overowned with Harden in, but I would still get there if Harden's out. Smitty, how do you feel about the Clippers?
Yeah, pretty much the same. I like Zoo as a tournament center option. He's kind of getting some ownership there, but yeah, Kawhi's my favorite here. Like getting there. John Collins is at least playable on a smaller slate. And then you mentioned Harden. Assuming he does play, I think he's a pretty good option. Harden or Kawhi, I think, are both pretty good. Chris Dunn, I think, is a little overowned. I don't mind getting to a little bit. If Harden's out, he'll look a little bit better. That's pretty much it. I think Bogdanovich is in play if Harden is out, but I kind of just lean Harden's in with the way this spread is. I don't think the Clippers are very good.
Yeah, I mean Harden, he's pretty tough. I think he'll go if he can. Keely said he thinks he sits, so he's loaded up on Dunn and Bogdan. I would say you could still play Dunn if he's in. Definitely prefer those two if he's out. Jose's here saying Podol or Kada. I lean Kada slightly. Smitty, how do you feel about those two at center?
Yeah, Kada for me.
Yeah, and they're very similar. Is Spencer Jones playable, or are we better off with Love? So Jones, when he first slid into the starting lineup, had some really good games. Then people started to play him. He kind of fell back down to earth. He's playable. I would still rather go to Kevin Love, but I don't think I want to get much of either, if I'm being completely honest. Smitty, how do you feel about Spencer Jones likely starting for the Nuggets?
Yeah, same. I think he's playable. Like he could play his way into more minutes, but either way, probably not a play I get to very much.
Yeah, and I would say this: if you could find 200 to get to Tim Hardaway, I think he's a better play. Chris Dunn, good value. Again, if Harden's out, he's great value. I think he's okay. Collins, I don't know. He just hasn't flashed the upside much lately. To answer this one quickly, Jose, then we'll get into the dummy build. It's Cam Johnson unless Williams is out. So you might want to wait on that news. If Williams is out, you want to get to a lot of Najee. All right, let's go in here and do these dummy builds. I do see we got yeah, try to get every question we can, guys, on these smaller sites. And we have 12 or 13 games. It's almost impossible. So we do what we can. But let's go ahead and dig in here. So first players in, I think Filipowski at power forward, right? Feel
Yeah,
free to throw a few other obvious names at me. Nemhard probably.
yeah.
Um,
Filipowski, Nimhard, Ace Bailey.
like it.
Center, we could go like either probably Kada. I don't know. Or we could
Yeah,
go
I do think
AD.
Kata has a floor.
Oh,
I
he's power
love
forward.
Bam, but like, I don't know if we want to. Let's do the Jokic build first. Let's
Yeah,
get
we could do
Jokic
that.
in. Go from there. All right. Shooting guard. I mean, if we're going Nemhard, I think we're assuming Williams is out. We could go Najee.
Yeah, I like that.
Um, yeah, let's go Najee. Like I said, I think kind of a sneaky-ish tournament play here is Tim Hardaway. Can't believe I'm saying that in 2025. But I don't know. Is there anyone else in that range you prefer? You can talk me off the ledge, man. I'm happy to
No, I think that's fine. Nothing
yeah.
surprises me now that Philip Rivers is back in the NFL.
I mean, he almost won that game, dude. I had no
Yeah, he did.
expectations for him going in.
I was
And with
rooting for
Kevin
him.
Love hitting threes too, like we're in a time warp right now. So maybe we lead into the older guys. We got 67-ish hundred left per player.
It's not
Anyone
bad.
else we're forgetting that we need to prioritize? I mean, I do like Lori or Keontae if we could get one or the other.
Yeah. Yeah, we could go Keontae.
Yeah, we got Tobias Harris chalk it forward. I think we could go Walsh and still get to either or. I mean, I don't know that I'd want to leave this much salary. Like we
Yeah.
could upgrade Walsh actually. Yeah. I mean Osser. One of these three. Again, Tobias is the chalk, then Osser, then this is a good build though. And again, we
Yeah.
could upgrade a few things if we like. And then if we get off of Jokic at center, I mean we go down to someone like Bam. I mean, we could upgrade Tim Hardaway to like any guard we want. We could get Murray in the lineup without Joker. So it's pretty easy to fit Joker over on DK tonight, I will say. But again, only 4 games there. So you are missing a few options. Quickly over to FanDuel now. Throw some names at me, Smitty. I'll start with Filipowski and Nemhard again.
Yeah. Let me see. FanDuel. Ace Bailey looks pretty good here too. Um, Center is kind
I
of
like it.
tough.
Yeah,
We could
center.
go
I mean, I
like
do like Bam here, but I'm not married to it.
yeah,
Zoo on.
yeah. We could go Zoo. I like
I
that.
kind of like Zoo. Yeah, I
I
do
feel like
like
he'll
Zoo
be
much.
underowned.
Yeah, it's a great matchup for him too. What else we got going here?
Nimhard's
Oh man.
52. I think we could go there if we assume Brandon Williams is
Yep,
out.
I already got him in. I
Oh,
already got
okay.
him in. Let's go
um,
Lori here since we didn't on DK. Maybe we need another Dallas run back. I didn't even play AD on DraftKings. I will say I like him a lot if we can get to him, but on FanDuel it's a little bit tougher. I think we could still fit him, but I don't know if
Flag's
you play
pretty
it.
cheap on Fan. Is it FanDuel or DraftKings? He's pretty cheap.
He's cheaper on DraftKings, but I just
Okay.
put Kawhi in. We could honestly fit Flag. Then we're left with 5,900 per. So again, it's pretty easy to fit what we like tonight. How cheap do we have to go if we go Keontae here too? Is that too many Jazz players? I think
Forty
Tim
two
Hardaway or
hundred.
something. Clay, Bruce Brown. I don't think it's crazy, but
No.
no, it's kind of gross. If we downgrade Keontae George, we could go to I don't know Peyton Pritchard quickly. You should have Davion earlier. I don't think that's crazy.
Yeah, I don't mind that.
Yeah, and then at small forward, we're going to be left with 63. Don't play Hawkes on FanDuel, in my opinion. That price is nuts. Um, Osser's fine, or Jabari. But yeah, we also had the question, can we go to Jokic? I think if we go to Jokic, we're probably going to have to downgrade Flag at the very least. Um, let's see what this looks like. Yeah, we got to downgrade him. I want to keep Kawhi. I would rather come off Laurie than I would Kawhi, honestly. I do like both, but that kind of puts us here. I don't know. Where's Hardaway? 44. I think he's useful. Then we're left with 64. We're right back to where we were at small forward. So, again, you can fit Joker, but we're waiting on a lot of news. So things could change pretty quickly, guys. Just keep an eye on that. Again, if we get word that Williams is out, Marshall looks pretty good. A lot of guys in this range. I mean, Walsh is fine. You could probably upgrade Oster if you go down to Walsh or one of these others. Um, yeah, if you're looking for Jock on DK, yeah, he's not on the slate. So sorry, Rocket. Uh, oh no, yeah, Buddy had 7-1 on Colts winning by 1-6. Yeah, they left too much time on the clock, and Darnold took him right back down the field.
Yeah.
Myers outscoring a lot of guys in fantasy this year. Tons of Phil Rivers discourse, so everyone enjoyed it. He's a grandfather. Not only does he have 10 kids, favorite pay up besides Jokic, I think it's Kawhi for me, Smitty. How about you?
Um, it's tough. Probably AD, assuming he
Yeah, I
plays.
do like the AD call. PJ or Lori? That's Lori for me. How about you?
Yeah, Laurie.
Osid asking if Jabori is sneaky. I don't know that he's sneaky. I think he's a good play. But again, if Eason's back, maybe come off of it. But right now, no one's playing him. I think he's fine. Better on FanDuel, um, but pretty low on. So I think Lori is an under. If you're playing props tonight, I mean, he's been outperformed by Keontae lately, but Lori's got it in his bag. And I think, what was I going to say? Guard's a little deeper. So while I do prefer like Keontae 1 for 1, I think it's easier to play value guards like Nemhard, etc., and then get to Laurie for that reason. So I think that's why we're landing there. Any last thoughts or words, maybe before we get out of here? I don't think we've had any news come in since we started, so we should be good to go.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything. But yeah, I think we covered it all. Pretty good slate.
Yep, guys, we will have. Are you in Discord today or Jayhawk?
Jayhawk.
Nice. Yeah, we got Jayhawk about to go live in the Discord in just 3 minutes. If you want to get behind the paywall, get access to his voice chat up until lock. He'll talk through lineups, any other news that comes in. You also get access to the model that you see here we use throughout the video. We also have the multi lineup builder. Check out the links on the channel for kind of a tutorial there, a bunch of new features, all that good stuff. But yeah, guys, getting into the holiday season, the thick of the NBA season. Another fun slate tonight. Looking forward to it. Hopefully, everyone has a good time. Cashes. Hopefully, we see those screenshots. But take care, everyone. Have a great night and good luck. We'll see you tomorrow.
Good luck.